And good morning. I'm Michael with, of course, Good Morning Neighbor.
And I'm Arlene. We're with NWA Welcome Services, and we encourage people to connect with each other. Michael, who do we have here with us today?
We have
not Mike Brooks.
I know, and honestly, I think we have the prima donna here of Neighbors Mill, and that's Melissa McConnell. You are the wonderful bakery chef that puts together, actually the chef that puts together all of the wonderful items for Neighbors Mill.
I'm the head baker here
at
Neighbors Mill, and welcome.
Well, thank you, and we're glad to have you on the show this morning because our theme for today is Cycling NWA. And so, dear, you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on?
We have lots of things coming up, Melissa, about Cycling NWA. When Michael said he wanted to do a cycling show, I had no idea what he was getting me into. There is just a ton of information on the topic about cycling and NWA.
Yes.
Over the last 10 years, it has just blossomed and, eroded, and so to speak. And so we're going to talk about what's going on with it today.
Sounds great.
So are you a cyclist by any chance?
I cycle, but I usually use a stationary bike because I'm up such crazy hours
Exactly.
that I can't really cycle at 1 a.m. outside, or I guess I could, but I choose not to. But I'm an avid cyclist on a stationary bike.
Awesome.
So there you go.
Well, did you know that Neighbors Mill and Cafe is less than a mile from the Razorback Greenway?
That's great. I did know that, actually.
Good. Well, we want to ask you about a couple of things. Of course, we want you to tell us about the special.
Yes.
And go ahead and do that, and then I'll ask you about the other.
All right, our special today is a Chipotle ham and cheddar. It has smoked ham, cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, and chipotle mayo on our garlic triple cheese bread that is actually made in-house.
And that's also one of the breads that you have at Neighbors Mill, up at Sam's Club, or
yes,
not?
it is.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
So that's an excellent bread.
So now, are you the one behind the scenes that comes up with all these delectable items?
Well, the base of products is done by all the Neighbors Mills.
Okay.
So the garlic triple cheese is one of those, one of our core breads.
Right.
But we are looking for what this area would like, and we do have the ability to add a few other products. So,
Excellent. So, any great recommendations for the folks that we're interviewing today as far as cycling goes and what they need to really do? Even coming to a wonderful restaurant like this, how do they pick and choose?
Oh, it's hard to pick and choose, but we all know with cycling, one thing that cyclists often like to do is carb load.
Yes.
And we can certainly take care of that need. Between the breads and the muffins, and I know I like a little chocolate when I cycle.
No.
And even that is something we can easily take care of. For the people who prefer a heavier protein-based diet for their cycling, because people's body's needs are different, people can also come in and get a great breakfast bowl with egg, or get a good, delicious omelet. So
well, there you go.
All kind of different options.
Well, fantastic. Well, I know one thing, Melissa. Neighbors Mill is certainly a great place for people to connect. It's a great place for people to get together and have meetings. You have a wonderful banquet room here. You've got a loyalty program. My goodness, you've got curbside parking for pickup.
Yes.
With those executives who are on the run all the time or just trying to grab something. So there's a lot of opportunities to connect here at Neighbors Mill, and we enjoy talking about what's going on in the community. We certainly enjoy welcoming newcomers and new homeowners, and today we're excited to see how newcomers and new homeowners can really get involved with cycling in Northwest Arkansas as well. Do you have anything else, dear?
I was just sitting here thinking about, the beautiful sunshine and what a wonderful day it is.
Oh, it
down
is.
here at Neighbors Mill.
Yes.
And how, Neighbors Mill could be a meetup point for cyclists.
Oh, they could,
They have
because
their
they're right
breakfast,
off the
and then they're
Greenway
just,
Trail.
right over there to the Greenway, less than a mile, and we might encourage them to park offside of after their breakfast.
Well, sure, sure, you know.
Neighbors Mill has a lot of people coming in this parking lot.
Well, they do, and I'll tell you though, we really failed to mention the most appetizing piece of Neighbors Mill for cyclists, and that's their outdoor patio.
Yes.
What a beautiful time this time of the year in the mornings as they're out and about to come by. I think you all open at what time?
We open at 7,
At
and actually
7?
I was in a business meeting outside utilizing that patio
Yes.
when you came and got me to do the promo.
Yes.
It's a lovely place to sit.
It is, it is.
And I believe you have a bike rack out there, don't you? I think you do.
Sounds like a winner to me.
And if not, we can recommend to Mike that he needs to get a bike rack out there.
Definitely
I
we
think
can.
there's one out there. So,
Well,
well, anything else you would like to tell us about your role here?
Yes.
Before we go on to Carrie and her first guest.
Just that I love being here. I work in a great place. It's a family environment, and I work for wonderful employers. And I'm excited to be here. I actually moved to Arkansas to work here. So
Wow.
That's a pretty high level of commitment.
That is. And you moved from Tennessee, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
how long ago did you move?
I moved in last year in April.
Last
so I've
year in
actually
April.
been with the Neighbors Mill family for over a year now.
Over a year. Wow. All
And one
right.
of the most impressive things that you do that just totally surprised me is right back there in that room that we can see into where you actually mill a
Yes.
lot of the flour.
We mill our wheat, our spelt, and our rye. And so those are milled in-house, and that just makes the bread that much better.
Wow.
Very fresh.
And you get here very early in the morning, don't you?
I do. A lot of the production goes on at night, but I usually get here now about 5 a.m.
5 a.m. Wow.
So,
Well,
that's not really by baker's hours. That's late.
That's late.
Yeah.
well, as always, Melissa, thank you for coming in and filling in. You know, for Michael, he's a great fill-in. He's a great help, and we love both Mike and Robin a bunch. And we'd love to also get the opportunity to kind of get behind the scenes at some point back there
Sure.
in your area and
I
talk
love
about
that.
what's going on in the kitchen. So.
I would be happy to show you that.
Excellent.
at
Well,
any point.
well, thank you very much. And now I think we're going to be here just shortly
We're gonna-
over to, unless we've got something
No,
else.
we're going to move on to Carrie.
We're going to move on to Carrie.
Carrie normally
and,
does our middle of the show.
Yes.
But today we're putting community affairs at the very beginning.
There we go.
And she's got an update for us on the Greenway.
Excellent.
As she interviews Tim Conklin, the Assistant Director of the Regional Planning Commission.
Excellent.
So if there's anybody that's in
All
the know about it, it's Tim.
right. It's Tim. So.
Got its beginning. Okay, so that gives me. Hey, good morning. Is it? Are we ready? Oh my goodness. Good morning. I'm Carrie Perrin Smith, and we are here at Neighbors Mill Bakery and Cafe. Hey, you know, I'm always talking about community relations and government relations. I just want to give a quick nod to the fact that the municipal races have now opened up their filing period. So in all the cities around Northwest Arkansas, we have, at the very minimum, we have the city council races, but there are also some other city-related races that you might see on your ballot. If you are considering getting into politics, want to be more involved in what's happening and serving your community, municipal service as an alderman or something else can be a great way to get started. So you want to check out everything that you need to do. Go to your county clerk's office. They can set you up with the petition so that you can get the signatures to get on the ballot. You need, I believe, 20. You need to live in the city limits of the city where you live, and your voters that you are getting to sign your petition need to live in the city limits as well, because all of our municipal elections here in the area are citywide or at large. So that's kind of how it starts. Don't wait, because it takes longer to get those signatures than you might expect. So you just need 20. There's no cost to file. And the only mayor's race that we have in the region this year is for Bentonville Mayor, and Mayor McCaslin is not seeking re-election. He has decided he wants to retire after long service to Bentonville, where he's done a great job. So anyway, so you'll hear more about that mayor's race, but all of the aldermen, in some of the cities, all of the aldermen are up for re-election. In cities like Rogers, where they are city of the first class, they have 8 positions, but only 4 are up for re-election every 2 years, so they alternate. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up. Don't wait. If you are interested in that, you definitely want to make sure you get on, get your paperwork, get your filing, and the county clerk's office is the way to start. Alrighty, so this morning we have with us Tim Conklin. He is the Assistant Director of the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission, and we're going to talk about the Razorback Greenway. So welcome, Tim.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Very good. So how long have you been with the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission?
I've been with the commission for approximately 5 years now, and so been with the commission as the Razorback Greenway has been constructed and actually opened up in 2015.
Wow. So is that your specific role, is really working with that, or what other areas do you work with?
So the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission, we serve Benton and Washington counties and a small portion of McDonald County going up to Pineville, Missouri. So our responsibilities include doing the transportation planning for this region. So we work on everything from trying to plan for and improve our interstate system, I-49, and including I-49 eventually up to Pineville, Missouri, to planning and coordinating all the trail improvements that you see, like the Razorback Greenway.
Very good. And transportation is an important key here in Northwest Arkansas. We don't have a lot of public transportation, so we do rely on our roadways, and you have to take the highway from Fayetteville to Bentonville every day. Transportation really, really matters. So it seems like we're just always kind of a step behind here because we've grown so fast. So thankful for the growth for sure, but there's always growing pains. So how did the Regional Planning Commission become involved in the Greenway?
So in the mid-2000s, many of the cities were working on their own trail systems within their corporate limits. So you had Bentonville and you had the city of Fayetteville actively connecting their communities together. During that time, there was interest with some of our cultural trails, heritage trails, Civil War, Trail of Tears. And so there was a regional dialogue that was occurring within Northwest Arkansas. That led to Regional Planning Commission beginning the process to look at how to link all these trails together within Northwest Arkansas. And many people don't realize we have 32 cities in Benton and Washington County.
Wow.
Plus 2 additional cities in Missouri, plus the 3 counties. So it really takes a lot of effort to coordinate our roadway system, public transportation, our trail system. And so one of our main jobs is to bring people together, convene them together to have those regional discussions about how to create those networks. So in 2009, an opportunity came up to look at how to apply for a Tiger grant through Federal Highway USDOT. The region was very successful and actually received $15 million Tiger grant to actually construct the Razorback Regional Greenway. That was matched with a generous donation from the Walton Family Foundation. So they matched the Tiger grant. Over $30 million was spent to connect the 6 cities together. And so what you see today is a 37-mile trail from just south of the square in Fayetteville all the way up to Lake Bella Vista. And just a note for people listening today, next Saturday there will be a ribbon cutting ceremony to extend the trail another approximately half mile into the city of Bella Vista up to Blowing Springs. So
nice.
A lot of excitement with the Razorback Regional Greenway, and it has been very, very successful for our region, and it's also very nationally known too as a success story of implementing a regional trail system through multiple jurisdictions.
Very interesting. So who owns the Razorback Greenway? That's a lot of real estate.
Yes, it is. So the Razorback Regional Greenway is actually owned by each individual city. When that grant opportunity came up and the funding through the foundation, a operations and management agreement was created, and all the cities participated and agreed to own and maintain the Greenway to a certain standard. So if you're on the Greenway in the city of Fayetteville, the city of Fayetteville owns and maintains it. But we do coordinate that for those who utilize the Greenway for recreation or transportation. You'll notice that the regional wayfinding signs are all similar. The design standards are all similar. So your experience on the Greenway from the south end to the north end, you should not be able to tell too much of a difference due to that coordination and planning effort.
Very interesting. So how much more is there to do? How close are we to done? Because that sounds like a decade project already.
So, it's interesting. We have 37 miles of the Razorback Regional Greenway. Today we have around 143 miles of paid shared use trail off street, with another 8 miles under construction. So we'll have over 150 miles of paved trail. Just in Northwest Arkansas. We also have around 240 miles of natural surface trails. So the question was, when are we going to be done? We have hundreds of miles of trails in our plans. We also had an opportunity to do a 2-county bicycle and pedestrian master plan. And part of that, we worked with each city over 1,000 population to develop an individual community plan. And so we have 25 cities with over 1,000 population. All 25 cities have endorsed the regional framework of how to connect their system to the larger system, and they all adopted a community plan. So what you see today, I would say, is just the beginning of what the future holds for the trail system in Northwest Arkansas.
Very nice. I'm sure it's a challenge with the smaller municipalities that have, maybe less tax base to work with.
So through Regional Planning Commission, we also do receive some funding to do some targeted transportation alternative program grant funding opportunities. And so we work with our communities to look at what their community plans, what they've adopted, looking at our overall regional plan. And we've been focused on, since 2013, funding additional projects through that program. So it is a challenge. I've been in Northwest Arkansas for over 25 years from now. It has transformed the region, what you see today with the trail system, and there's wide support to create these high comfort, low stress pedestrian and bicycle networks in Northwest Arkansas. Very surprising to see the level of support. We were in Pineville, Missouri, a town of 800. We had over 100 participants show up, and they were all talking about how they drive to Bella Vista to access Northwest Arkansas trail systems. They would love to see the Razorback Greenway extended to Pineville, Missouri.
Well, and it's interesting when we talk about Northwest Arkansas. They consider Northwest Arkansas a metropolitan statistical area that stands on its own. And that extends into counties outside. And the reason we count on those counties is because people drive in to shop and work and eat here in Northwest Arkansas. So when we talk about Northwest Arkansas and the total economic impact, it really does, extend out, to the counties around us and the state lines and everything. So. Well, Tim Conklin, thank you for being here today. It's really important to hear about what's going on with the Razorback Greenway because there are people who still don't use it, and it's a great gift to our region for sure. So, well, I want to segue here to a video that will show you how the cycling phenomenon here in Northwest Arkansas got its beginning. Thanks for being here with us today, and check in next week.
And thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Tim. It's great to have the commission with us today. There's just tons of people that are involved in cycling NWA, both on the professional level, the building trails, And then there's the riders, such as the one I have with me today. And this is Catherine Scott. She is a local realtor and a triathlete.
Yes.
Welcome, Catherine.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
I'm glad to have you. Well, you and I got the chance to sit down and talk last week, I guess that was. And you enlightened us a lot on the bicycling world of NWA. You're a semi-newcomer of sorts to the area. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came back to Arkansas and that type of thing.
Well, so I went to college for engineering, and I was a software tester for about 8 years. I lived up in Washington, D.C., and that's where I got into triathlon and running and all that type of stuff with the triathletes program up there. And I moved back to be closer to my parents. And my dad was like, well, why don't you join me in real estate? And so I got my real estate license a couple years ago. He's been doing real estate in the area for 20 years. So I got my license and I joined him, and then I found a triathlon club here, Triple Threat Racing. And so I have a group of friends, and we cycle together and run together and swim together. And so that's kind of my connection there.
Awesome.
I came back to the area.
Well, you live not far off the Razorback Greenway that we were just getting an update on. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about living close to the Greenway and what it benefits it brings.
So I live about a mile from the Rogers Greenway, which right there at Iberia Bank, which connects directly to the Rogers Greenway, the Razorback Greenway at Einstein's Bagels. So it makes it super convenient and safe. You know, you're not sidewalks to the trail, and then I can be on the trail for 30, 40 miles without having to worry about cars. You know, it's just pedestrian, just pedestrian traffic and stuff like that. So it's just super convenient. It's safe. I feel safe on it. There's water stops because there's water fountains. It's just convenient and close, and I would like, I'm a renter right now, but when I buy a house, I would definitely look for that, just because, if you have to go through traffic or you have to drive somewhere, you lose a lot of time to your day.
Yes, you do.
So just having it right there, I see people walking dogs on it. It's great for everybody.
Well, and I've noticed that those riding bikes are very considerate of those that are walking, and they let them know they're coming around usually.
They're supposed to.
So,
yeah. Supposed to say you're supposed to say on your left.
Yeah. Okay. When I've walked the trails, I've noticed the cyclists doing that, and I really appreciate it because you may have your involved in music with your headset, you may be talking with another person, and you don't realize that cyclist is there. So it really helps.
Yeah, it is.
Helps the flow.
Yes, it is. Most of you really are supposed to, and I always say it, and we really appreciate it when other cyclists do, to kind of build goodwill with the other pedestrians.
Exactly. I think one time I did have someone say something other than that was kind of, and then kind of like.
Yeah, sometimes they'll ding a bell, which can kind of jolt you a little bit and stuff like that. So.
But I mean, it's
most of them are pretty
high on the level of how many people have said, on your left,
passing,
on the left, or passing,
yes.
Something like that. So, well, what kind of concerns do you see in riding on a bicycle in NWA?
So when you're not on the trail system, you obviously have cars. Bicycles have to follow the rules of the road, including stop signs, and sometimes there's small shoulders. Northwest Arkansas tends to have a problem with dogs too. That loose dogs in yards, or that come out of yards, not necessarily to bite you or anything, but they come into the road and they can get between your tires, and it can be a hazard. I've never encountered a dog on the Greenway. And obviously you still have to stop at the stop signs on the Greenway, but you're not worried about a car, somebody texting coming up behind you and running over you on the Greenway. And then there's always people too. That's one thing I really like about it is I can go out at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to pass a whole bunch of other people who are out there exercising. So it lends, to me in my mind, especially as a female, it lends kind of some safety. I'm not alone out here. I'm not just going to be grabbed off and hauled off into the bushes. Somebody's around, even in early parts of the morning.
Okay.
The safety factor. But yeah, I mean that's kind of and you're always close. Like I feel like if something were to happen, like a flat tire, that if I couldn't change it or something like that, I'm always close to something. Because along the Greenway there's gas stations. You're almost always near downtown. Like so. Or easy access for my parents to come and get me. I'm not like way out. Now I'm in Oklahoma and they have to drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes to find me. So it's just you're kind of always near something. and that can work for resupplying on water or Gatorade too. So that's kind of.
Because I know I saw a video where one gentleman talked about it used to be that we went to Colorado and took our bikes and rode out there. And so now you've got everything right there, convenient with the riding. It's like you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the riding area,
yes.
Nice riding area, and then.
And in addition to the Greenway Trail for road biking, there's the back 40 and all the mountain bike trails too. And because I know Colorado is big with mountain biking,
yes.
So we're a big area for both mountain biking and road biking.
Yes.
So.
Boy, have I watched some videos and learned some things. Well, you, as far as your profession of being a real estate agent now, have created a database.
Yes.
Tell us about that database.
So what I've done is I've mapped the entire Razorback Greenway from Lake Bella Vista through Walker Park in Fayetteville by parcel ID and subdivision within a full mile of the entire 36 miles. So I have a database of homes that are for sale, for rent, and land within that within a full mile of the 36 miles. And so, and I have a Facebook page called Property Along the Razorback Greenway, where occasionally I post a few of the homes from that database, and so you can see the photos. And I'm happy to provide any homes if you reach out. But I did that because I'm very familiar with the trail system, both the Razorback Greenway itself, but as well as the connecting trail systems, both in Rogers and Bentonville, but as well as other cities too. Especially like the trail now that goes out to Kessler Mountain Park. They extended it's technically the town branch trail and then the Kessler Mountain Trail. But anyway, so that's my connection to it. I was always on it because I'm training for an Ironman triathlon. And so I spend a lot of time on the trails.
And that was going to be my next question, was what you have coming up next.
So I'm doing Ironman Redmond, September 22nd in Oklahoma City, and that's the full 140.6 miles. So you swim, bike, run, swim 2.4, bike 112, and then you run 26.2. So I'm excited, but yeah, so I'm always out on the trail system during the weekends and during the week. So
awesome. Well, we've been visiting with Miss Catherine Scott, realtor, local realtor, and also triathlete. Don't forget, she has that Facebook page where you can be looking for property along the Greenway. I want to say the Gateway, but it's the Razorback Greenway. So please contact her if you're looking for something. Again, that Facebook page is Property Along the Razorback Gateway. Let's go see what Michael's up to now.
And we're over here talking with and getting ready to introduce Rob Potts. Rob with Lewis & Clark. Nice to have you here today. Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got involved with Lewis & Clark.
Sure. I grew up in Springdale, so lived in Springdale since I was 2 years old.
Wow, a native. I've got a native here.
Yeah. So myself, my brothers, we all grew up in Springdale, lived here.
Okay.
And our family started the business in 2000. So we've had Lewis & Clark for 18 years now.
Okay.
I joined in 2003 when we opened the Rogers store.
All right.
I was a commercial real estate appraiser.
Okay.
And my family offered me less money and more hours to join the family business. So here I am.
What an incentive that is.
And I get to work weekends and holidays. So.
Now, the Rogers location has bikes, correct?
That's correct.
And you kind of added that to the original footage within the footprint?
Well, we started with, each store has 4 departments. It's got outdoor department, which is all the gear to play outside, the bikes, apparel, and footwear. And so we had bikes all along in the Rogers, but we expanded it a year ago. So we increased the floor space.
Excellent. So you've seen the need from about 3 years ago to a new and basically vibrant footprint of biking or cycling Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, absolutely. We increased our Springdale store by about 3,000 square feet just last year, all in bikes. And then, yes, we increased Rogers by about 2,500 square feet, again, all in bikes, just because of the need. We were running out of space.
Well, excellent. So at Lewis & Clark, this is neat to me. You've got a rock climbing wall. You really have all, like you just talked about, all of the gear. Walk us through a little bit about a person's fitness level, how you assess, kind of how you get those folks started out on the ground level.
Sure. Well, for us, and the reason we started it, so our purpose of our company is simply, it's to enhance the quality of lives of other people, right? And so for us, we believe that somebody going biking or hiking or camping or kayaking or climbing with their family and their friends, it's good for you spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. You're building relationships. So we started it to get more people into all these activities. And so how we assess, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, our product's not really bikes, and it's not really biking, and it's not camping gear, and it's not really camping, right? It's time with your family, it's time with your friends, it's adventure, it's needed weight loss, fitness, so all those things, right? And a lot of times all those things in one. So when somebody comes in the store for biking, let's say, we just start asking them questions. You know, what brought you in? We want to find out why somebody really, really came in. Sometimes their doctor said, you need to get in shape. You need to lose 50 pounds, right?
Doctors are always great at that, aren't they?
We let them be the bad guys. We tell them, hey, you just get on your bike and go ride your bike, right? That's all we want you to do is go ride your bike.
Go ride your bike.
You let the doctor be the main guy. But somebody will come in and we'll just start finding out, you know, what brought you in here? Is it adventure? Are your friends riding? Your family riding? Do you need to get in better shape? And so then we just find out what type of biking they envision themselves, you know, so because there's so many different types of biking. You can bike on the greenway, you can do the paved trail biking, you can get out on the roads, you can be a road biker, you can mountain bike, you can bike on gravel roads or all the above. So we just start figuring out where do they see themselves starting and then assess it there. And two of the things we do is we have what we call a 30-day guarantee. So if you envision yourself on a road bike, right? And you get a road bike and you're like, wait a minute, I really think mountain biking is my thing, right? We'll give you 30 days, you bring it back in, we'll give you what you paid for the bike, and we'll swap it out for a different bike. Or sometimes people get into it and they just love it and they're like, I really should have gotten a nicer bike. And so that way it takes some of the, you know, the uncertainty out of it. That way you don't have to say, this is definitely the route I'm going. We've had people that have traded 5 or 6 times trying to figure out what they're doing.
Wow.
And then the other thing we do is we brought from day one free lifetime tune-ups. As long as you own the bike, we'll tune your bike up for free for however many years is how many times you need it, because we really want to make sure that you're on your bike. We don't want the bike needing to be tuned up at the beginning of the year a deterrent from you getting back out and riding. We'd rather have you riding the bike and not making money on tune-ups, because we'll know you're going to continue to come back in time after time. You're going to stay on the bike. So those are two of the main things we do.
Excellent. Well, I noticed the other day a video that y'all had, I think it was on YouTube, talking about folks riding the Greenway Trail and being able to come around and just kind of, you know, on the way they can stop in and get someone to look at their bikes. I think that's kind of a neat, you know, let your mechanics kind of assess, is the bike good to go and roadworthy, and, you know, anything that they may need right there on the spot. So that's great too, because that picks up folks along the Greenway that may not have known about you as well.
Yeah, both of our stores are closed.
Excellent, excellent. Tell me a little bit about your Health Focus program real quickly on this Couch to 30 program.
Sure. So yeah, real quick, so our Couch to 30, which is basically we'll take somebody sign up being a beginner ride, probably hasn't even ridden 5 miles yet, and in 5 weeks we'll take them from that to riding a 30-mile ride. And our second program ends this week, and we'll have some new people who, again, beginner riders who are going to ride 30 miles. And so along the way we've partnered with the medical community. They will come in and teach classes, nutrition classes, fitness classes, and so forth. And it's just designed to get somebody that's a beginner biker to where they don't believe they can ride 30 miles, and most people we really can get from beginner to 30 miles in 5 weeks.
Wow. Now, you've got some great calendar of events type stuff that y'all do. Folks can go to your website, I think, to get that. They can look on Facebook, on your Facebook page to get that.
Most of it's on our Facebook page.
Excellent, excellent. Kind of what trends are you seeing in bicycling at this point, now that we're 3 years kind of into this? And
Sure. We're just on the beginning. You know, for us, so we've had bike shops here for 15 and 18 years. And it's really been, you know, for us, we wanted to get more than just the enthusiasts into biking, right? And we've seen that. But really over the last 3 or 4 years is we're seeing people get into biking that never would have been into it before.
Sure.
Right? And still, we're just on the beginning. I mean, people are getting into it and they're riding for fitness and health and recreation. but we're just on the beginning of people using bikes in their everyday, day-to-day commuting. That's still a very small percentage, but I think that's about to start, where people are really using bikes for transportation more than just fitness and recreation.
It just amazes me the amount of families that are out now on bikes, and just even teams that are forming all across Northwest Arkansas. The trails like you talked about that we have. The e-bike piece really interested me real quickly on what you're doing with the e-bike piece of that. So
sure. On our e-bikes, it's been a very misunderstood concept. Really started taking off the last couple of years. An e-bike, most people don't understand it. They think it's a bike with a motor, which it is. The motor multiplies your output, right? So somebody that is just getting into biking, or wants to bike more hours, or wants to commute without being exhausted by the time they get to work, you can get just as good of a workout from an e-bike. And what it does is they'll have multiple settings. And if you want a little bit of an assistance, you can do that. If you want a moderate amount of assistance on your bike, the motor will do that. And if you want a lot of assistance getting up a hill or something, the e-bike will do that. So you can get an identical workout to a regular bike on an e-bike. You can just go faster, longer, and people that need to keep their heart rate within a targeted area, instead of having big spikes, they can use the e-bike to help them get up bigger hills where they're not having big spikes in their heart rate. So yeah, we've got a lot of people who are simply riding a lot more miles than they normally would because they have an e-bike.
Well, excellent. Well, Rob, thank you for coming out, being on the program. We'd love to have you back, because I know we'll do several other segments of cycling in Northwest Arkansas. There's so much to cover. And right now, we're going to get over to Lance with our good friend Paxton, and he's going to talk to us about some other things that are going on in Northwest Arkansas in cycling.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Lance. I am here filling in a little bit to help kind of fill the show a little bit. And I'm joined by Paxton Roberts. Paxton, good morning. Thank you for joining us. You are with Bike NWA. Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what is Bike NWA?
Yeah, so I'm the executive director. We are a nonprofit. We're based in Bentonville, but we serve all of Northwest Arkansas. And we are the Bike Alliance of Northwest Arkansas. So we are made up of, right now, 6 cycling-related nonprofits that we all work together to help make Northwest Arkansas a safer place to ride a bike. Our vision is that you can leave your house or your work or your school and ride your bike to pretty much wherever you want to go safely, and to provide access to as many people as possible of all different ages and abilities.
Okay, all right. So you guys help tie together all these different organizations that are working on, say, the Greenway and Slaughter Pen, all those different groups. You guys help tie them all together, give them one sole representation.
Well, yeah, we try to get everybody to work together, and to be a united voice for cycling across the region. But we also have our own specific initiatives besides just working with other groups. Our 2 primary focus areas are infrastructure and culture.
Okay.
And so with infrastructure, we are advocating around the region for the cities to just keep this momentum going that has been building over the last several years, and especially decade, I guess. And connect all these wonderful trails that we have, these paved trails and these mountain bike trails. Let's provide safe connections to where people live and where they work. And so we've been working with the cities to plan for more infrastructure, build things like protected bike lanes. It's a bike lane on a road is a place where a cyclist can ride their bike, and there's normally a white painted line and a bicycle symbol painted, you may see, but there are some newer, better practices of infrastructure that can be built that makes it more inviting for people of all ages and abilities. And so you can put vertical protection between you and the cars. And sometimes you may see they're plastic bollards, or they have these things we call armadillos. They're black with stripes on them, and they're hard molded rubber that you probably wouldn't want to hit with your car. But it just creates something between you and the traffic to give you a little bit more protection. And so we are working around the region to get these new types of infrastructure put in place because as much as we like to, you can't build a trail everywhere. There just simply isn't enough room to fit a trail to every neighborhood. And so this is a great way that we can provide access to everyone in the region. Really would love to see it in the next 10 years.
Now, you mentioned safety, and I went on your website, and I saw some unique, I guess they were crosswalks in Fayetteville, some blue and green and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned safety. So tell us a little bit about what your safety initiatives, because you said earlier you had some other safety initiatives you're working with, I believe in Springdale.
Yep. Well, so awareness is important, and we do awareness. We need cyclists to follow the rules of the road, and car drivers, and everybody to do what they're supposed to. But at the end of the day, the best practice infrastructure is what is going to make people safe.
Okay.
We've got to build safe infrastructure for people to ride their bikes and to do so in a safe manner. And it also helps pedestrians as well. So this year, in the next month, we're going to be kicking off some pilot projects around the region. In the city of Fayetteville, we're going to be installing some protected bike lanes on Rolling Hills Drive. And this is working with the city of Fayetteville and the neighborhood to create a safer street. And we're really excited about that project. In Springdale, we're going to be working with the city once again on creating a connection between the Razorback Greenway and Northwest Health Medical Center, and hopefully across 71 Business to the library, and there's a splash park and some other aquatic center over there. So we're excited about those two. And then finally in Siloam Springs, we're going to be working on creating a neighborhood greenway close to downtown.
Oh, wow.
And neighborhood greenways, we're really excited about those because a lot of streets are too narrow to put bike lanes on.
Yeah.
And so, looking for options to make it easy for you to ride your bike from your house to maybe your neighborhood park or your school. And these neighborhood greenways use different type of design elements to essentially slow the speed of cars down on your neighborhood street.
Okay.
And it's funny, I've never met anyone that wants people to drive faster in front of their house. I mean, it's just whether you're a cyclist or not, I think everybody would like their streets to be safe. And if your child's playing in the front yard and your ball rolls out, you want your child to survive if they go out and get it. And the fascinating thing is that when you lower the speed limits of cars on streets, and there is a collision, there is a crash where a car hits a person, your chances of survival go up drastically. I mean, we're talking 20 to 40%, up to 60 to 80%.
Oh, wow.
And I think if we all ask ourselves, which is better, I think we would all choose to have a greater chance of survival.
Absolutely.
And so, even lowering a speed limit in a lot of neighborhoods, speed limits are 25 miles per hour, which is really high. If you go over to Europe, those speed limits could be 8-10 miles per hour on the street.
It's slow.
So if we could reduce the speed limits in our neighborhoods down to, say, 15 miles per hour, that's going to change the time it takes you to get home by a matter of seconds. And I think
that save someone's life.
And that's something that we often forget. We're on our way home from work, and we're like 2 blocks away from our house, and we're hurried to get there. And the difference between 25 miles per hour and 15 miles per hour is like 10 seconds. And I think 10 seconds is worth giving a child or an adult an 80% chance of living. So these neighborhood greenways are going to be really important as we move forward. And these projects are really critical because we're trying to demonstrate to the residents in Northwest Arkansas that you can retrofit bike infrastructure onto city streets. You'll still be able to drive your car where you need to go. I drive my car every day. I'm the cyclist that drives around the region from meeting to meeting all day long, and I would love to ride my bike, but we have so much going on in this area, there just simply isn't enough time. But so I understand the need of being able to get someplace in your car, and we're not wanting to take that away at all. We're just wanting to make it safe for the cyclists and the pedestrians to get around, and really the car drivers too. I mean, when you put these protected bike lanes in, a lot of times it means narrowing the road. And when you narrow a road, you're more cautious as a car driver, and you can still fit the same number of cars down that road. We're just asking to drive the speed limit. And so narrowing these lanes and putting in bike lanes actually makes it safer for you to drive your car down the road too. And then if you're walking on the sidewalk, you're safer as well, because now you have 6, 7, 8 feet between you and the cars.
Good space.
And if you have little children, you know how they can step off the sidewalk or they're running around. And so it creates a safer place for everyone to move from one point to another. And that's really what we're after.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned you had an event coming up here tomorrow, I believe it was.
Yep.
So tell us about that event here.
Yeah, so we're excited. So tomorrow night in Springdale at Magnolia Gardens, which is just off the Razorback Greenway and right in downtown Springdale, we're having something called a draft event. And it's part of a national meetup series. It's kind of like a happy hour. And it starts at 6 o'clock, and it really has to do with bikes, business, and beer. So there is some free adult beverages there, and beverages for those who don't want to drink beer. But we have some exciting lineup of some new local businesses that are getting off their ground, and a series of speakers that will get up at about 5 minutes of a time, talk about the local business that's starting up. And then we'll also talk about our bike advocacy efforts, and then really just a chance for people to network that are in that area. So
awesome.
We're really excited about that, and we just have so much going on in this region.
Awesome. Well, tell our audience how they can reach you, how they can follow what you've got going on, and all that kind of stuff.
So these days, Facebook seems to be where all the events are. So you can definitely look us up at Bike NWA on Facebook.
Okay.
We have our website, so we try to keep it up to date with our events that are going on. They can reach out to us if anybody wants to, find out more. Our contact information right there on our website at bikenwa.org. And then also Oz Trails. So Oz Trails is a brand that is under us, and it's the brand that markets the region for mountain biking.
Okay.
So we are promoting the brand nationally to attract people to come here to visit or to live and ride the incredible single track that we have. And so there's an incredible amount of information on the Oz Trails Facebook page and on the oztrailsnwa.com website.
Awesome. Well, Paxton, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And now we're going to go over to Arlene, where she will be speaking with, I think I missed my notes, but Arlene, we will go over to you.
Okay, thanks, Lance. Every once in a while we like to pull Lance up on the stage and get him out from behind the soundboard, and we appreciate him visiting with Paxton today. And I have with me, I'm honored to have Aaron Rushing. He's a executive director, or the executive director I should say, for NWA Trailblazers. It's a nonprofit organization, correct?
Yes,
and the mission statement is developing cycling and pedestrian infrastructure that connects community and moves people.
Yeah,
I like
correct.
that. Let's get them moving.
Good, yeah.
So, well, personally, you grew up in North Central Arkansas, and then you, after college, you went out of the state.
I did.
Kind of missed what you had grown up with in the natural state.
Yeah, that's right.
And you decided to come back, right?
I did. I moved back.
Well, when did you move back?
I moved back in 2000.
In 2000.
So graduated University of Arkansas in 95, worked in Kansas City for 5 years, and moved back in 2000.
Okay. And then along around 2007 is when you started working on the trail system for NWA for
Actually, it was before that.
Okay.
I worked as a consultant for the NWA Trailblazers. Back then there was the Bentonville Bella Vista Trailblazers, and I worked as a consultant doing civil engineering work for the Trailblazers. So I've been involved in the organization literally 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and I know a lot of the program is considered to be 10 years old now, so you were in the pre
I was pre that, yeah, exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Right.
Well, you've had over 20 years of design consulting work, and most of your work, like I think it's 3 to 1 or 2 to 1 maybe, has been in soft trail or mountain biking trails, correct?
Yeah. My passion, I've done a lot of site development consulting, but my passion's always been bike related, paved trails, more recently the soft surface trails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you also had part in 25 plus miles of the Greenway, right?
That's right.
Tell us about that experience and how you got selected, what your role was, things like that.
Yeah, so when the Razorback Greenway, the idea came about, it's been 7 or 8 years ago. I was part of the design team, so I was a civil engineering consultant, helped put together the team to do the Razorback Greenway. The Razorback Greenway was awarded a grant, a Tiger grant from the federal government, and I was on that team to help develop and design about 8 miles of that trail system. Almost to the end of that design period, I started work for Alta Planning. Alta Planning was the lead design group, so then I went from working on 8 miles to basically the rest of the Greenway. There were pieces of it that were already built, but all the newer pieces, I got to work on the pieces that were still under development through Springdale, through Lowell, through Rogers. So I'm still working on pieces of it today. We're still improving pieces of it today.
Is there, I know we were talking to the Planning Commission, and I didn't get to listen to what they were saying, but is there a plan for further development on the Greenway?
There is. Yeah, actually, we're trying to push it more north. We're getting ready to cut the ribbon on another mile of it on Saturday.
On this Saturday.
So the plan is to keep pushing it north as far as we can and get into more Bella Vista. Bella Vista has a lot of opportunity, a lot of rooftops there, a large population group that really doesn't have any paved trails. So once we're going to continue to push it north, see how far we can go. I don't know where it stops.
Well, and they have a little more hilly terrain than the rest of Northwest Arkansas.
It makes it really hard for the paved trails, but it makes it great for the mountain biking trails.
Right, right. I can just imagine the builders have a little more challenge in that area.
Yeah, you have to keep the paved trail in the valley, really, through Sugar Creek. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, we've talked about that paved trail of the Razorback Greenway and your involvement there. But like I said, more of your experience has been in the mountain bike trails.
Lately it has, yes ma'am.
So one of your projects was the Back 40 up in Bella Vista.
Yeah.
Tell us about the whole story about that one, how it came about.
So Bella Vista went through a process, a master trail plan process, which I was part of that with Alta Planning. So as we developed 173 miles of soft surface trails in Bella Vista. Out of that spun the first piece of it, which is the Back 40. So we helped design the 40 miles on the east side of Bella Vista, hired the contractors, negotiated easements, worked with all the property owners that were impacted, worked with the POA, the city, got it under construction just prior to the IMBA Summit in 2016.
Okay.
IMBA Summit helped kind of spur this national attention on mountain biking for our region. Once the IMBA Summit came here and they saw these great trail systems, it really put us on a national map for mountain biking. So,
well, and Slaughter Pen was the first one, and it started to put us there, didn't it? And this one, though, really made us a destination.
Slaughter Pen was 2007. And really when Slaughter Pen went in, there's a lot of local people riding, a lot of local mountain bikers using that facility. The Back 40 and even Kohler that's in Bentonville, it really helped spur the interest outside of this region for people to come here and use it for tourism. The Back 40 is special to me. I lived in Bella Vista about 12 years. Bella Vista doesn't have a lot of facility. They don't have sidewalks, right? It's so hilly, it's so terrainy. But it warms my heart when I see people out there walking and hiking it. They didn't have anything before the Back 40 went in. So it's been really a special project.
Great. Well, we're going to run out of time here in a moment. I could talk to you forever about that.
I could talk about trails forever.
Oh, yeah. You know, I really thought we should have just had you guys line up across the front and talk to each other. And we would have found everything we needed to know. And got to know your personality as well, probably. But what are you working on right now, and what's in the future?
Yeah, right now we just opened some new trails. Fitzgerald Mountain in Springdale, we just opened that up. Okay. We opened some downhill trails in Eureka Springs. Like I mentioned, we're cutting the ribbon on the Razorback Greenway going north. The biggest thing we're working on now is probably the west side of Bella Vista. We're planning another 40 to 50 miles on the west side of Bella Vista, west side of 71. So that could start within the next maybe 30 days.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being with us, Aaron. And
thank you.
Enlightening us much about what's happening.
Absolutely.
We greatly appreciate it. Well, we're going to go back to Lance now, and we're going to let him tell our audience about his business. So let's go talk to Lance about Bolt NWA.
Thank you, Arlene. I am Lance once again, and I am going to actually speak to you guys a little bit about Bolt NWA, our amazing escape room that we have in Bentonville. We lock everyone in a room for an hour, and they've got to solve a variety of puzzles, clues, riddles, and all that fun stuff in order to escape. But actually, I'm coming to you because we're actually kind of facing a little bit of a dilemma. We have moved to a new location. It's allowed us to expand and provide more for our customers and even for the community. But in doing so, the economy or our ability to stay where we're at kind of has been a little bit troublesome. We're struggling right now to try and make our lease payment. So we're asking everyone to come in and visit us, spend a little time with us. We have a GoFundMe out there, but I really don't want to push that. I want to push that you come in and check us out, spend your money with us, and make us earn it a little bit. So we're asking everyone to come out. We've got some awesome specials going. We've got Ticket Tuesday, which gets you into one of our rooms for a discounted price. I believe it's our closed quarters. We've got a special on Wednesdays that gets you into one of our other rooms where every day of the week there is a different promotion going on for a different room so you can experience the different themes that we have. All you have to do to find out those is go to our Facebook page, which is Bolt NWA, or you can even go and join the Bolters Facebook group. It is an elite group of people who have played at Bolt, who plan to come and play at Bolt, and it's where we make a lot of our announcements and talk about what's going on at Bolt. And that group is an absolute blast to participate in. We've had some, I guess you'd call them insider shots of some of the things going on up at Bolt, such as TJ wearing the map cape and carrying a hammer, where we had people choose a good superhero name for him, which Captain Cartography was probably the best one we had out of that whole group. So if you want to see some of that stuff, you got to go join the Bolters Facebook group. And I think I've about burned up my time here, so I think I want to shoot it back over to Arlene and Michael and allow them to close us down for the morning. Thank you, guys.
Well, Lance, thanks very much for talking about Bolt, and as my right ear caught, Captain Cartography. Dear, say that 3 times.
I don't think so. I'll let Lance do that.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you, fantastic show on cycling Northwest Arkansas. So much going on, and
there is so
wow.
There are so many people involved. There's so much, like you said, happening that we have only touched a little bit of it.
Oh,
so
exactly.
If you go out and view on Facebook or go out to YouTube, look for videos on the Greenway, but mostly look for videos on Oz Trails. Those are wonderfully professionally done videos that we would encourage you to watch to learn more about the trail system and what's happening.
Well, and I'll tell you what was kind of neat was, and we might be able later on to put it up as well, but Flip Putoff, and also on the Greenway Trail as well, and he was cycling his age in miles, yes. So 63 years of age, and he was 63 and a half. I think half is what he said.
So he made sure he did a few extra laps here and there up in Bella Vista end of the trail to make sure he got that extra half mile in, so someone wouldn't condemn him for not doing the whole age. So anyway, Flip was really great to say that he recommended you get out and do that once a year, do something like that, bike your age. But I think I need a lot more time in between of practicing before I get out there on the Greenway and bike 63 and a half miles like my good friend. And like Flip said, we can, in his, and he's often said this, but he said it in that video that we watched, I can almost smell the end of this race.
There you go.
I think it's time for us to wrap it up.
Yes.
And let's talk about some cycling events that are happening.
Yes, exactly. So July 28th is, imagine this, Christmas in July scavenger ride. Last week, I think Lance and I were talking about Christmas in July for whatever reason, but anyway, 100% of the proceeds for that ride end up going to a pancake breakfast. If you attend the pancake breakfast, we'll go to the Arkansas Arts Academy NICA team, I believe is how that's said.
That's the school clubs organizations.
Excellent.
And it's actually 100% of the entry fees and 100% of the proceeds from the pancake breakfast.
Fantastic.
So they're going to do that. Also, something that's happening that same day is up on the Greenway, they're doing the ribbon cutting of another mile up north in the Bella Vista area.
Oh, yes,
so that's happening as well.
So if you get out for that, the July 27th through 29th is the Rogers Cycling Festival. 9 races over 3 days. Wow, that's a lot of cycling that's going on at that point.
And August the 11th, there's the Eureka Gran Fondo, and that is just one day out of a whole 3-day program called the Eureka, but this is one that focuses mostly on bicycling.
Okay.
There are triathlete events in that, but on this day they're doing a 21, a 62, and 100-mile distances.
Wow, that's a lot of miles to cover. August 18th is the Tour de Cure in Bentonville, benefiting the American Diabetes Association. But most of all, we look forward to having everyone join us next week as we welcome more notable guests to our program. On that note, next week's going to be kind of an eclectic group. Yes.
But then we do have a back-to-school edition coming up.
Fantastic.
And we have toward the end of August, we have one called All About the House.
Excellent. Fantastic. So we've got some themed events coming up on the show. Well, before we get away, we must thank our wonderful sponsors, because otherwise this would be a upscale program if we didn't shamelessly thank our sponsors for joining us.
And first we want to thank our location sponsors, Mike and Robin here at Neighbors Mill Bakery and Cafe.
Definitely.
Come down and break bread with the neighbors.
Yes, excellent. And our thanks also go out to Amp Electric, to Meteor Guitar Gallery, to Music Works, KR Promotions, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Rick McLeod Farmers Insurance. We can't also forget to thank Johnny Brusco's, the wonderful folks there, and let's see, KR Promotions and NWA Welcome Services. So.
And I've got 2 more.
Oh, tell us.
All of our technical programming is done by Bolt NWA, and we appreciate them very much for being out and helping us with that every week.
Definitely.
And lastly, our furnishings are by Ashley Home Store.
Excellent.
So this is Mike and Arlene saying, good morning, neighbor.
Good morning, neighbor.